Yeah. Good evening. Welcome to the September 20th, 2023 Conservation Commission meeting. Just as a reminder, open meeting videos, oh my gosh, open meetings are videoed, and if you choose to participate, your voice and image will be recorded. All right.
I think first things first, CSX, if we want to squeeze them in before.
Oh, sure. Yes, because they're, yes, right there. Hello. Yep, come on up and just
Jonathan Schuster with TRC on behalf of CSX, and I guess we're going to discuss the current situation just off of Allen Road.
yes.
So we did have a site walk that was 2 Mondays ago now, I believe.
Yeah.
And both Maddie and AJ were there along with a representative from DEP. We developed some concrete action items to follow up. So basically, we're operating under an emergency order until I believe this Friday, the 22nd, it expires. Unfortunately, it was difficult to mobilize the powers that be to act on everything that we decided upon within this time frame. So I think one thing that we're seeking is kind of input on what actions, if any, should we continue to do with administrative approval, such as seeding, just to get things stable in the coming weeks, and with the forthcoming NOI filing, which is more or less an after-the-fact filing, what are we waiting to act on then? And there's kind of a separate issue in addition to the items that we had discussed on site. We did note some depressions that were created when all of that debris was scooped out. So we have kind of some lower contours than were there before. So I wanted some guidance on, is it a good idea to bring some clean fill to the site, level that out to more or less be similar to what was there before? And we would obviously have to seed following that, at least those areas where we're amending with material. So that's kind of the summary of where we're at now.
Okay. Is there a list of the items that you guys discussed?
I don't have it with me.
Yeah,
but in the
I
email.
can
Yep.
list off the items. So there are 2 culverts. There's a 12-inch culvert that runs beneath the access to the site, and that's just about at the limit of the right-of-way. So we're pretty certain that all of this falls within the right-of-way easement, although we're close to one abutter. So removing ballast stone that's kind of sunken in on either side, so the culvert inlet and outlet. The outlet will require a machine, just a small bucket to go in, like a mini excavator or something, to scoop out about a yard of material. The upgradient side, it would just be hand removal. And again, this is the 12-inch culvert. Moving downstream, we get to a 24-inch iron culvert, it looks like. There, the bank is bare currently because trash was removed. And it's kind of slumped down in places. So both at the inlet and outlet of that culvert, which runs beneath the track, we're proposing seeding. On the upgradient side of that, we also want to propose jute netting to stabilize that bank, maybe move some of the material that we know has slumped into the channel back kind of up to the top, maybe stabilize as needed with some larger stone. And then that seed would be like a native erosion control mix, let's say from New England wetland plants, for instance. And then downgrading it would be seed only. Beyond that, there's a larger area where there's 2 cars went over and the debris was cleaned up, where initially in the field we've said, okay, let's seed all this area. But looking at it now with standing water and depressions in what was formerly buffer zone, we're now saying, hey, what if we brought in potentially upwards of 60 cubic yards. It's probably going to be less, but we're talking, anywhere from 6 inches to 18 inches that were excavated. So bringing in clean fill and stabilizing. So of those actions I listed, what should we consider doing as soon as possible, even if we don't have an order in place or we're outside the emergency window? what actions are we holding off on? What are your thoughts on the fill? And knowing now that I believe today was the deadline for the October 4th hearing, it seems as though we would be pushing off to the next hearing that would have itself an October 4th filing deadline.
Right. Okay, so, the emergency order expires on Friday. What is it that you believe you can get done by then?
In terms of the contractor that I believe CSX has selected, they are coming to the site this coming Monday. So after,
So
to see and to say like, okay, this is the hit list, like let's activate on it. Again, I apologize on CSX's behalf just for that delay. I would like to say it's, unavoidable, that there's this and that, but it was just the way we were able to connect the dots, get the right people in place, get the contractor lined up. We're at where we're at now. Theoretically, TRC on our end, I've done a lot of restoration work. I could theoretically see if our team could mobilize with CSX's authorization and your blessing to try to get something out there before the order expires. That might be a tall order, like sourcing the seed mix, getting it there. Could drive to New England Wetland Plants and pick up a sack.
Right.
Do it myself. I think, the site certainly needs stabilization. I don't know if, the erosion control is still there. Oh, and that's another thing. If we're doing some of that earth moving and deposition of fill, I would propose just to put in addition to what's already there, maybe like compost filter tube, just kind of at the foot of that silt fence that was never towed in, just to kind of have a little more oomph if there's, any possibility of a blowout. But yeah, I hesitate to promise something realistically this week. I think that's tough.
Right. The hard part is, by the end of October, the growing season is pretty much over.
Mhm.
So, is there, I'm just wondering if we can do an extension of the emergency order so that you would still be working under the emergency order while you're preparing an NOI for any other work.
Yeah, so my understanding from Tom Rabula, who was in the field with us from DEP, when that question was posed in the field and we were all discussing it, he was sort of like, kind of whatever needs to happen. I don't know in particular if that is in line with what is feasible for emergency orders, but I guess I would describe it as an administrative extension of a necessary emergency order, if that's how your commission wants to view it and you're comfortable with the contractor, with our oversight, getting seed mix out there, let's say next week after technically the emergency order expires, we would certainly do that. So it's...
Right. Can you put together a written action plan and get it to us by the end of the week?
Certainly. There are emails that already exist with that hit list. We can kind of put it into letter format addressed to your commission.
Just something formal.
And that, I guess that's another question, is would that include the deposition of clean fill, or are we holding off on that component until...
How are you going to bring that in?
So that would be the site access. You'd have to cross the tracks, and it would be, a couple...
So you've been re-granted site access? Because I know there weren't you guys accessing the site over private property, and
Yes.
the property owner changed his mind?
I wasn't aware of that. I thought that
yeah.
I thought that there was kind of still a cooperative agreement with as yet to be determined additional restoration actions that we'd be accessing through there. So I can double check on that.
Okay. Yes, double check on that, because we had a meeting there. I don't even. September. It should be like September 11th today, for as fast as it's gone. Do you remember
I'll look it up.
Okay. Anyway, we were there. The whole town had a gathering there.
Okay.
All town officials, and that evening, I believe the property owner changed his mind about site access, and the remaining amount, they had like 10% left to clean up, and they had to clean it up some other way.
Okay, I'll-
Unless they've worked that out.
I'll double check. I mean, that's a question for, I guess, for CSX. And then another question is, you know, when we're actually filing what will become a mostly after the fact NOI, ideally, when we're actually talking about the work footprint, I do believe that it's all within the right of way. If site access is through that abutter, we would just need to figure out if officially that filing is encompassing that abutting property, or we're just indicating access, but from a deed perspective, we're only talking the right of way. And I think ideally, we'd like to not have to involve another property if they've just, you know, granted access and like,
Sure.
okay, go through there.
Yep.
So I think that's sort of another question that also contributes to potentially the delay in our filing. Is that
Right.
something we have to figure out?
Right. We tend to err on simpler is better.
Yeah.
August 28th.
August 28th.
Isn't the extension under DEP's purview with Tom? Not us? At a state level, because of the river and the debris? I don't think it's us, I think it's DEP.
So
I know we discussed this with Tom. Does anybody else remember something different? I
Yeah,
think he
because
said
we needed
really-
to rule on it within 24 hours of receiving it, which we couldn't.
Which
so-
we couldn't, because we have to post 48
Okay,
hours.
yeah.
Right,
So then DEP was supposed to,
DEP
Correct.
supersedes with the state
yeah.
yeah,
to anything we say.
right. So they would have to issue an extension.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could email Tom tonight and just
Yeah.
seek an extension on CSX's
See what it
behalf.
says.
Yeah.
And CC your commission.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because once DEP's in, then we're
Right.
tagged out.
Yep.
Yeah. If, let's say that goes through, would your commission see any issue with us continuing to act on everything that I've kind of enumerated in that hit list, and that'll be in that forthcoming letter? So that would include all those remediation actions, including fill, just so I can sort of have an answer ahead of the contractor coming to the site and say, yep, run with it as soon as you can.
Right. Well, I will speak for myself, and then we'll ask everybody else. I'm fine with that, especially because we are running out of time to seed.
Yeah.
You should also know that the town does have a soil importation bylaw. Anything over 100 yards has to be approved by the select board.
Okay, yeah, this would be like 40 to 60
Okay.
yards or less, potentially.
Okay. Just letting you know.
Okay.
Does anybody else, does anybody have a problem with them continuing to work while we?
No, I don't.
I'd want approval from Tom with a full layout of what you are approved to do
Right,
by DEP. So
Yeah.
that it doesn't turn into the town said we could when the state is the ranking official on the scene.
Absolutely.
Because then it gets,
yep, yeah, he said, she said.
Yeah.
AJ,
I'm good. I'm good.
any,
Yeah, and we did discuss this with Tom, among many other things while we were out there, and, yeah, and, you know, one of the things we brought up around getting another order in place was it protects both of us, both the town and CSX.
right,
So, yeah, so it doesn't turn into, well, you said that.
right. Yep.
But I think Kyle's right too, that yeah.
Yeah,
But I also see Tom as
Yeah, I
a
think
real
it's better
partner
to
in
get it
this. I think
fixed
it's
as soon
fine.
as possible and say, no, you can't do it, and
right,
drag it out.
right.
Agreed.
Okay.
Okay,
A DEP. DEP.
There you go.
Yeah.
awesome. So, yeah, and just keep us in the loop. You know, copy us on the communication with Tom.
Yeah.
And
And I think that letter I can address to, I guess, both DEP and your commission, saying, this is the hit list. From DEP, we need the authority, we need your authority to extend the order, and then your commission would have a record of that hit list of everything that was under the emergency order and will be retroactively permitted under the NOI that's forthcoming.
Right.
Great. Got our marching orders.
All right. Thanks for coming in.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you all.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Have a good night.
You too.
See you again, Jonathan. Thank you.
Yes. Pleasure.
Wayne, you're up.
Hello.
You weren't expecting so many people, were you?
Mick Jagger or something. Hopefully I don't look like it. Rich is in, but.
recuse myself?
How are you?
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Great seeing you guys again.
Yeah, you
It looks like you have a
too.
wonderful evening. Glad I can be
It's
here
been
at
quite the summer.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
bet.
there's that one.
And I'm glad we're here early on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
do we have to put
right
up
after
easel?
the train derailment.
Yeah.
That's what it was, huh?
Yeah.
That's like literally a train derailment.
Third one this summer.
We have to talk at some point after
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah.
Holy cow. Do we need the easel, or can we just hold it up? Can we play Vanna and, what's his name? Whatever you guys want to do?
Anna White?
Yeah.
Do you have it on a hardboard?
Yeah.
Do you have their copies?
Yes.
I like to see it here,
We
so
can
it-
we
if you can do both.
Yeah.
Yeah, do both.
While we're doing both, I'm recusing myself.
Yeah, good, go,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you.
So everybody have a nice summer? Seems like
Yeah,
forever and a day we were here,
I know.
you know?
Don't go far. Yeah.
Wow, I missed you guys. Missed you guys.
I'm
So,
sure.
seeing that it's not a public hearing, can I just get started, kind of tell you guys where we've been and where we are?
Yeah,
So, thanks for having us.
great, yeah, so you're just here to update us?
Yeah, update and seek direction.
Okay,
So, as you know, we had, during the process, after we closed the hearing with you and you folks issued the order of conditions. By the way, folks,
Right.
they like us. So this is-
For now, anyway.
but I'm also gonna let you know, you've got
I'll make
15
it.
minutes, yeah.
I'm a long talker. I could be a Seinfeld character. So, long and short is we had gone before.
Right, so, Roger, is that in your way? Yeah, so, yeah. So why don't we put it over here?
Is that whereabouts, Kathy?
Oh, that's all right.
Over here?
Sure.
So we had, following the receipt of the order of conditions, again, for the record, Wayne Bellick Land Design Collaborative, this is Kathy Adams, Kane Industrial Trust. We had received the order of conditions from you folks. During that process, the hearing was still open with the ZBA. We were asked to rescind the application that was currently before them for a cannabis cultivation facility because things had occurred between the tenant and Ms. Adams' company. So we rescinded that, refiled for an R&D facility, had recently received the permit for the R&D facility. As part of that process, we were seeking some variances to the parking requirements, as you folks recall, and thank you very much for your input on that. We feel that was very helpful. We had gone before the commission, to the board, seeking variances for the density of parking and the location of parking. The density of parking, they required like 400 spaces, and we were providing 160, and the basis of that was looking at a lot of these facilities in the area post-COVID, the parking lots are vacant and everything, we took that approach. We were able to work with the ZBA for them to agree to a phased parking plan. 3 phases of parking. The initial phase is 160 spaces or thereabouts, 162 spaces. Our feeling, honestly, is that the first phase will only be the only phase that gets constructed. We don't believe that the others will never need to be constructed. However, we have it such that the other phases, should it be determined by the town that they need to be constructed, we would need to go back before the ZBA and before the commission with a new notice of intent. This is the layout, generally speaking, that you folks had approved. Actually, everything in black underneath is everything that the commission had approved in the issuance of the order of conditions. What you see in red are the changes as a result of our modifications with the ZBA. As part of that, the building footprint was reduced from 92,000 square feet to 74,000 square feet, shown here. As part of that, the parking, because we had to increase the parking, we have parking in this area here where we hadn't before, and the limits of clearing in this area have bowed out about 10 feet. Around here, about another 12, 15 feet, and the same in here, about another 12, 15 feet. It's all above the 25-foot buffer zone. The question that we had of this commission was that because of everything pretty much being the same, with the exception of a few areas, whether or not the commission would be in favor of a red line plan where we could pick it up in the as-built, or if we'd have to come back and request an amendment to the order of conditions, which would be a whole new set of plans, right, stormwater and everything going through the process again.
You're asking us to approve this, but this isn't what ZBA approved.
It is. The red line is.
Where the red line
The
is.
limits. So basically, everything what this shows is what you guys approved in black. The red shows
Yeah.
the limits, the change, basically the change.
Right, so where's the plan with the different parking?
This, what you see in red.
Isn't there parking over there?
Not, so there is, but if we have to do that parking, which, like I said, we don't believe we'll ever have to do that. If we do, we'll have to go back to the ZBA with that and come back before the commission with a notice of intent filing, totally separate filing from this filing here. Our goal and our hope is that the only thing that ever gets constructed is this here.
Right.
And so,
Right, so I don't have a problem with us approving this, but I would like some sort of indication that this is Phase 1 parking or something
Yep.
to show that there is an additional plan somewhere.
so if you'd like, Madam Chair, I could get you guys the plan that was approved. I do have actually a plan that is currently before the ZBA for endorsement, and it's a composite plan showing all the parking, all three phases, and it's in the town clerk's
I
office?
saw the Mylar.
That's the one.
Up on top, right.
So I could,
So I want that plan.
okay, can I get that to Maggie? Maggie? I'm thinking
I
of
don't know.
cookies. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
no cookies
No
tonight?
cookies tonight, no.
When do those pop up? In the middle of the fall or something? Because those were delish. Yeah, I got in a fight because of you.
All right,
the
come
way.
on, you were doing good.
I'm sorry.
Right, so, again, personally, if anybody feels differently, speak up, but I don't think that this is a substantive change that needs an amended
New filing.
filing or anything. But the plan that we vote to approve, I want it to show all of it.
Agreed.
Great,
Yeah, definitely.
thank you. Thank you.
So we should get a copy of the one that's endorsed by the ZBA?
Yeah. So what I can do is, once we get that back, that's going to be recorded. I can get that to you folks, the recorded plan, a copy of the recorded plan. How many copies of that would you like?
11 million.
We'll go get you 11 million and one.
I mean, one digital,
Okay?
and then one to vote on and put in the folder.
Okay. Terrific.
Do you need us to come back, or can you vote on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
I know.
nice. I told you they liked us. Keep going.
Yeah, and so does anybody else have any other comments on this?
Nope, I agree with you.
Looks pretty straightforward to me.
Should we vote on that just to make it official, or?
No, because what we're gonna vote on is we're gonna vote when they bring the other plan.
Looking forward to seeing you guys again. Cookies, possible cookies? If you're not bringing cookies, I'll bring cookies. Yeah, I'll bring cookies.
No,
We'll
don't
get,
bring
we'll
us
get them,
cookies.
we'll get them
Yeah.
manufactured from one of Kathy's
Yeah.
facilities.
No,
We'll have a ball.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
folks. Much appreciated. I wish we could have spent more time tonight, but I see you have a full room.
Yes,
And
yes,
It looks
we
like there's
do.
a concert coming on or something.
Yes.
Yeah, we're expecting Mick Jagger in a minute.
So,
Oh, wait.
I'd like to, so, after the next meeting, if there is time, I'd like to hear some of the derailment story.
Sure.
All right? That doesn't seem to happen too often in the community,
Berlin.
more than once.
It seems to a lot here,
A
yeah.
lot of experience with it.
So do you think October 4th? Do you have?
Well, does that work for you, Kathy?
I
or
gotta
was-
see if the ZBA meets first.
Okay.
Do we have to go before the ZBA?
No, but they have to sign it.
Gotcha. All right, sounds great, folks. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care. It was great
Good
seeing
seeing
again.
you. Look at that, right on time.
Stay up too
I
late.
can't believe we kept Wayne that short. Is a representative from Highland Ridge here?
They're in the hall.
Brian.
He's upstairs.
Out in the hall.
Yeah.
Get their signature.
Yeah,
didn't run
wait,
away.
just let them come in.
Started.
I know.
Matt's still out on his meeting. Do you want to wait for him? John's here?
I think I saw our 8:30. Is Michelle Buscone?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah, there's-
Michelle, do you want to go now?
Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
Do you want to go knock on the window and tell them we're ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna go push him. Oh, where is he? He just walked in right now.
Oh,
What do you need?
all right, well, now you have to wait a few minutes.
Wow.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, what am I here for?
I'm not entirely sure either. I think you're just here to show us officially the new plan and the restoration plan because I've seen it, but not everybody has.
Okay,
And so we're just gonna make it real fast for you.
great. Okay,
All right.
this is the whole plan.
Site restoration plan. Hold on a second. I also want to see. What I just, oh, yeah, I guess, I'm sorry, I was reading it wrong.
Okay.
Right, so just to catch everybody up, the original plan that Michelle came in with for the indoor riding rink was this square. And then she was gonna extend this down here, started doing some digging down here in the CR. She came into our last meeting, we said that we weren't going to approve the larger building, so she has now moved the larger building completely outside of the CR, and that area that was,
We'll go back to being
Will-
natural. Natural.
will be restored.
Why you didn't go with that?
Because now I have people leaving because there's no place for them to ride. Because this is our original outdoor. So now this will be our outdoor. And in order to do this, I'm ruining this. So this is now ruined.
Riding?
It's just a sand
Disagree
lot.
with the CR? Could you
Yeah.
do that in the CR?
That's
It-
not,
it-
that
yeah,
was
that's-
not in the CR.
Right.
What's that?
This was never in the CR.
No, I
he
mean
means the outdoor
riding. Could you put a rink so she'd ride in?
This
That's what this is gonna be.
the line, the CR is that way. So this is the,
Ride horses in the CI.
So you're
Yeah.
inversing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe put your
Yeah.
riding, well, look at what's going
No,
on down there.
right, this is, this plan is fine. This is the one that's approved by the building inspector.
Yes.
This is the one, this is
Yes.
the one we're going with.
So basically, you're just switching the two.
Right,
Right.
rings.
Right.
The two rings, this'll be a smaller than this. This right now was actually bigger than this.
Right.
Right.
The outdoor was bigger than that, but now it's gonna be a small indoor. Well, I mean, not small, 200 by 70. It's gonna be a big indoor,
It's gonna be nice.
but this'll be the outdoor.
Excellent.
In the outdoor, when you do the outdoor, what prep do you have to do with that space near the CR?
Oh, it's just, it's just, we bring in dirt, it's sand and dirt, pretty much all the dirt from the backyard, way in the back. You don't even know where it's coming from.
I know. Okay, so this elevation and all that, you're gonna level this out
Yes, they're gonna be
all the way to
level-
here? So I
Yeah,
don't have to worry about you accidentally coming out this way to level,
No.
right? Okay. Good. Got that clear.
So what is going on at the corner of Central Street and Sawyer Hill? All those riding rinks out back of that.
what?
Huge riding rinks.
What?
Central Street and where, and Sawyer Hill?
Yeah.
At Berlin.
Both in
Or-
line?
Oh, on the other
Oh,
side
Berlin,
of Sawyer Hill.
Berlin
Sawyer Hill
Farms.
Road.
On the other side of Sawyer Hill Road, you have to talk to Teach. I have nothing to do with it.
I'm just asking you.
no, no.
I'm not asking you about it, I'm asking her. I'm just trying to figure out if you can put a riding rink in on the CR. That's
She's,
all.
right, but she's not.
No, but I mean,
yeah.
you wanted to.
I see.
It was gonna go into the CR.
And you said no.
Right.
I didn't say no.
All right. Thank you for bringing that in. And good luck.
Thank you.
And when you get the restoration done, give me a jingle.
Yeah,
All right?
thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great evening.
Bye.
Bye,
Good luck.
everyone.
I'm still out there. Yep.
It only gets
Another
better.
one.
It only gets better as the
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Which one's this one?
We haven't done Highland Ridge yet.
Oh, I got excited. How could I forget?
It's hard not to get excited.
All right.
Sure.
Actually, John, I think you did did you do Bigelow Road? Years ago for Kathy Kane? The NOI?
I don't
No.
think so, no.
Yeah, no, that's fine. If
No,
you say
I'm
you
trying to like, no,
Right,
like,
good.
no, it doesn't ring a
Right,
bell.
I went out there with Dave Burke and I thought it was you
I don't
to
think-
check the flagging.
Oh, wait a
like
minute,
6 years,
wait a
six-
minute.
yeah.
I'm like, that rings a bell.
Yeah, I think it
I
was.
haven't seen David.
I haven't seen Dave in a long time either. He's doing well, I guess, from
Yeah.
what I hear.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't seen him forever. You know what? I think I did do it. It was just NOI for,
It-
was there a pool?
And it may
Was there a
have
house with a
been-
pool?
It was an ANRAD, maybe. No, it was raw property with a stream crossing.
I don't know. I'm-
You
I don't
mean
know.
you,
The years
the
are-
one doesn't stick out for you?
The years are kind of catching up to me, I think.
Yeah.
Could I have my pen back?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
All right, so Highland Ridge, how's it going out there, guys?
I'm not sure if you read the report I submitted.
I did.
Okay, so, I have been in regular communication with Patrick, and there are times, I swear, I go out on site, and then he files a report, and our times are like an hour apart, and we 2 ships passing in the night, but if I don't comment by email to him. I'll call him on the phone. He and I, for the most part, are pretty much on the same page as far as the way things are going. So my comments and my reports were mostly concerning Wheeler Street because my charge is to make sure the erosion events that happened on Wheeler and the back of the units there, that never repeats again. And at this point, I don't think we're going to have those issues unless we have a Leominster rain event.
It looks like you haven't sent.
Sorry.
Siri was commenting.
Yeah, Siri wanted to add.
Yep. So essentially, the issues that we're still seeing on site, if you were to go on site and go downhill and look up at the downspouts, upper downspouts, lower downspouts, and I tried to illustrate this with my pictures. I had a lot more pictures that I took that day that I linked with a cloud.
Hold on 1 second. If you could keep that door open. It's the law, unfortunately.
And I gave them to Patrick so he could have a better library of what I was seeing when I was out there, because he didn't have a chance to write anything up. Essentially what's happening is your detention basin's still functioning normally. It's held a lot of rain back. It's not washing out. It's not malfunctioning. There's no short circuiting going on. It hasn't overtopped. There's been no silty water entering it at all. I went down and took a look at it I was there at 11 o'clock in the morning during the heavy part of the rain event.
On Monday.
On Monday.
Yep.
Yeah, for those of you who are wondering, I was the guy with the Patriots umbrella.
Thank you.
That was me. So I went down, I looked, I walked around, I took a whole bunch of pictures, and what's happening here on this report, for those of you that haven't
Right, that's
seen
a very
this is an
telling
example.
photo, yeah.
So what's happening is the vast majority of the downspouts, when I spoke with Patrick about them, when it first started happening, we had rip-wrapped. And with the volume of water that was coming out of them, there is a lot of water coming out of them, more than what you would usually see. Of course, this has been a very unusual year. So what's happening is that it's just creating a path, and it's washing seed out. It's not allowing anything to grow in. Brian's guys in between have gone in at times and patched them up, reseeded. They've added more jute matting in spots. It just keeps doing it. Until we get, if we ever get a quiet pattern again, but until we get some quiet pattern where we have a lot more than like 8 days or 10 days of sun before it starts raining 2 inches a day again, it's going to need time to settle down. The way those downspouts, and John, I'm not an engineer, but the way it's been explained to me, and John can correct me if I'm wrong, those spouts are basically designed to assume a full lawn, so that not only the stone, but the thickened, fully grown grass disperses the flow. That the grass isn't fully grown in, and the thin spots, in my opinion, especially down by the jute matting, are because of the fact that jute matting also, it has a net benefit of holding in seed, of holding in soil, and of holding the banking together. But it also has the net effect of holding in extra moisture. And I think the extra moisture can actually, especially with the rains we've been having, will inhibit the growth. So my recommendation was to just simply go and continue to overseed. You can seed over the jute matting, and when that germinates, it'll grow through the netting as well. So my recommendation on that is to simply just continue to go out, hand seed them, and, like we have a few days of sun now, and it's supposed to rain again over the weekend. Hopefully we get a longer enough drier period that with the soil as moist as it is, it can start growing in. The catch basins were functioning perfectly. They weren't flooding, they weren't blocked. They had a little bit of road, I call sediment, but it was more like, road grindings and things that washed in as a result of construction. It's not short-circuiting or blocking it, it's just doing its job and catching it. And those are designed with the overflow outlets so that when they fill up with water, they will overflow, and they're doing their job too. The areas where Patrick had cited in his previous inspection report about areas that started silting up, as far as the bales, the wattles go, those were cleaned out. Like this section right here where this fence is down, it was put back up like the next day. So
Can I see the photo, please?
This is from Patrick's report.
That was on, we had that Long Hill.
So we had that put back up too. There's been no breaches in the erosion protection. There's no, there was at a point where some silt had gone just past, before we started correcting things. There's nothing that's been added to it. There's no vast plumes of silt exiting the site, no vast plumes of silt going into the wetland. There's nothing. What I saw flowing through that erosion protection for water was clear water. The only other concern I express, and I noticed this especially prevalent between units 39 and 41, and there was one other that's escaping me at the moment. The first one I saw was 39 and 41. That's why it's striking me, is that some of the water went down because there was a lot of water pouring out there, and it, pushed the wattles a little bit. I mean, it held the water, it puddled the water, which, you don't like to see it dam the water either, but it dammed it a little bit. And, we just need to tamp that down and keep on top of those wattles so that it doesn't undermine. There were a couple of spots on site where the wattles started to undermine. Patrick and I know about it. Mr. Clark has been working to address them and make sure that they remain fixed. They're just areas where flow concentrates as a result of grading, and until everything is 100% grown in, which is going to take a lot longer than we had hoped, but my reasons were spelled out as to my opinion as to why that is happening currently.
It won't happen this year. It won't grow in this year.
Is there a reason why you're not just putting sod in those patches?
The way the rain comes down, I mean, if you look at the way the rain is coming down, you have concentrated downspouts, okay, which are a normal part of construction, and we did, like 99% of them have riprap pads. And even with the riprap pads, it's still causing a gullying effect, and it gets strong enough with the heavy rains to push it over. If you put a fresh thing of sod on those slopes, that water, the way it's flowing out there, is going to go under the sod and just roll it back down. And I've seen it time and time again on other construction sites. If the site had a lot more of a gentle slope or a flatter topography, I would have told them 2 months ago, just sod this and get it over with.
Right.
So there were no original plans or provisions in the beginning and design of this project for underground stormwater containment or dry wells or anything? You're just going to do downspouts like that?
I can't answer that question because I wasn't in on the original design. I was brought in as an erosion control specialist to try to get the situation under control.
So if it keeps happening in those same areas and you're unable to maintain it, wouldn't that be a valuable option to solve the issue?
Well, that's something I would have to talk to Mr. Grenier about.
Yeah, and there was one area on the back side of I'll call it the loop road. I forget what unit number behind it. There's a small retaining wall there, and there was an issue where the water was from the downspouts was running down, rutting, and then where there's like a little boulder wall, like 3.5 feet high, and it was starting to run through some of the stone. So on it was that sketch plan that I provided.
Right. Do you have that?
I do. So on that, we're just to make sure that there's no, and this was an overlay of what was, a previous grade plan, and then they added a small boulder wall there, and that was more of a flat area behind some of these units because it was kind of sloping off. So there's downspouts that were rutting, and then it was going through some of the breaks. So they were going to capture that water, take those downspouts, and put those into an 8-inch pipe and route that around the wall so that there's no chance of it rutting and then running through the boulder wall.
Would that be permanent pipe or
Yes.
temporary?
No, permanent. Just in the area of that wall because you didn't want it rutting
So
through.
the downspouts your biggest problem? That causing the biggest washouts?
Currently, it's not totally responsible. It's responsible for about 90% of it.
Right, because like in this picture, you can very obviously see
Exact.
this downspout, but there's all these other rills coming down the hill
I know,
that
but if
are
you
not
actually-
downspout related.
And I don't mean to interrupt, but if you actually stood down there, that picture doesn't show it effectively enough. I can, make sure that you get a link to the cloud I sent to Patrick. If you stood down there, you would trace those rills right back to the upper downspout.
Yeah, on the front corners.
So circle back to provisions for, because a project of this scale did not have stormwater management into an underground system seems a little odd. And with the containment at the bottom, why wouldn't you just make that a solution if this keeps happening? And with the weather we're happening, and you keep telling me it's not gonna work. You have the excavators there, dig the trenches, put it underground. It's a cost issue, but it's a poor design issue, I think. But I'm not an engineer, so, but that level of
Be cheaper in the
construction.
long run.
Yeah, you're running uphill in the mud. Just trench it and put it into the silt pond. I mean, you can make excuses all day long about why it's not working, but it's just a poor design, poor execution.
Well, and I think if you had a full-grown lawn with a full root system, you wouldn't be seeing it. Just the rain doesn't stop. The rain doesn't stop. It doesn't give it a chance to get rooted in.
But in the meantime, I've seen rubber tubing get as long as you want, the cork get holes in it, and it
Yeah.
Perforated,
out
yeah.
all along. I think that would have done a lot just to prevent what's
Just to get it away from the slopes.
Right.
You're talking about running right from the downspouts?
Just so it's,
Put it on the downspout
and just run it out
Holes
so-
all along it, so
Right.
it lets it out.
so then
leach field.
you're getting it away from the slopes where it's gonna,
Right.
and in like on one of those pictures, and it may be the same location that I saw, it wouldn't be necessarily one downspout, but you'd see kind of a little bit of sheet flow coming from one downspout and then another downspout, and then they would join together, and then it would start,
Intensify.
then it would intensify, then you'd start seeing, where it would start rutting out, but, and that could be a good solution, like you said,
Cost effective.
cost effective, and get the slopes to germinate, and get the,
Right.
get the root
Direct the water away from where it's
where it's
washing out.
rotting. Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
And in all honesty, you didn't even think of that, so that's,
But it's not gonna grow this year, it's gonna grow next spring after all the snow melt, after all the washing out, so there's gonna be tremendous erosion yet if something isn't done with these downsprouts, I think, anyway.
Well,
It's
the
up to
the
your
positive
cost.
part of it is that we've had some very, very heavy rains,
Right,
especially in the last few, couple of weeks.
I'm aware.
The fact that this site is actually holding up as good as it is very positive here. I don't think the issues that you had previously, even with a winter melt, I don't think you're going to see them again.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're keeping on top of it, and the jute matting is actually holding very well. There are spots where it gets weak, and Mr. Clark has been working to try to get those reinforced, and there's been stuff added, and he's been walking the site with Mr. Garner,
No,
going over the wattles,
my
and Patrick
inspection
could give him
on September
his
10th.
opinion on what he wanted to see Brian do on site. So, everybody's been putting their heads together as a team. The town's consultant, myself, Mr. Clark, and now Mr. Grenier is involved. So it's because there's been such a proactive involvement, I think that, between the town and the development team, that's part of the reason why this has been progressing.
And all I can say is that ultimately, if we had the rain that Leominster and Fitchburg, if that storm had just come a little bit more east, we'd been having a whole other conversation right now.
Yep.
And you folks keep talking about when the grass gets there, when is the grass gonna get there? And we're still in the erosion. What happens if it keeps raining? We're lucky that it's rained the way it has this summer, so that we know how deficient the builder has been.
But also, right now, I think we're overwatering. We have a sprinkler system that's up and running, and the grass is turning yellow, and it's not growing as well. And we're overwatering now with the sprinkler system going. So we're not getting the growth that we need, and we're gonna need fertilizer, and it's hard water, so you're gonna have chlorosis from magnesium chloride and sodium chloride and all the other salts, the calcium chloride in the hardness of the water. So you bleach out the grass and it doesn't grow as well. So it's a management thing where we have to ask management to stop watering so much. And then there's a lake effect. The siltation drains are making a lake effect out there, and they have to come out. In the storm drains, those siltation, I live right there and watch it every time it happens. But it fills up like a lake, goes up the driveways, and in June, it would take to the next day for it to go down.
Right, but
And-
so did that happen on Monday?
No,
Did it-
2 hours it was gone.
So yes, it
Gone
was
in
going
2
up
hours.
into driveway.
It did flood again.
It flooded
Yeah.
driveway.
It just
was after I
drained
left.
faster.
Yeah, there's not as much silt going in. Let's get the drains out.
There actually, I didn't see any silt going in at all.
They're hindering the drainage.
Honestly, I don't disagree with them.
Siltation-
Right, okay, thank you.
Honestly, what this lady said, I don't disagree with. We could probably take it easy on the watering, especially considering the season now.
Yep.
And I don't see a reason to keep the silt sacks in there at this point because the areas around it are stable enough where you're not going to have the siltation events that you've had.
So Pat and I did have a discussion last week about removing the silt sacks. And so I wanted everybody's input, but I think I'm going to also recommend that the silt sacks be removed because if the silt sacks are the problem, we're going to find out. If something else is the problem, we're also going to find out. While this is still being paid attention to.
Granted.
Yeah.
So, is everybody
I agree
in?
with that, yeah.
Does anybody have a
Try
problem with taking the silt sacks out?
Brian?
No. I've been out there again and again and again, and right now the silt sacks are not collecting much of anything because there's
'Cause-
very little
And we just put
eroding
the top of
from
the pavement on too,
onto
so
the pavement.
Everything should
But
be
it's behind the houses now.
Cleaner.
clean.
And I have to take
Exactly.
exception. I brought up a.
Okay, wait 1 second.
Okay.
I just about the silt sacks.
Okay, all right, sorry.
So we're all in agreement.
Yes.
Okay. Don't throw them away.
Just put them in the trailer.
Just put them in the trailer.
$85 a piece.
With what he paid for them, I don't think he's going to want to get rid of them.
Well,
Yeah, I have a question.
Yep.
Actually, it's two. How close to this development is the original plan that we voted on at a town meeting?
How close is it?
How close?
Well, we went with the plan that was approved.
But is this the plan that was voted on at the town meeting years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, okay, all right. Because the previous owner had said that he would not clear cut the site. And that's what happened, and I think that's a big part of the problem, that the erosion
Unfortunately,
controls-
that was a verbal promise and not anything written.
Right,
And
Right.
the new owner
right,
did not agree with that.
yeah. But I mean, I think that's where the whole problem started, because you clear cut, there was, and just changed the whole, the erosion plan was not sufficient to cover the fact that you had the property had been clear cut. And it was extensively clear cut.
That it?
Yes, that's it.
Thank you. AJ, you had something to say?
Well, on September 10th, I was out there for about 2 hours, and I focused less on the things going on the street because I looked at the silt sacks and they weren't. It was raining that day, but I did walk the entire length of the erosion mitigation along the forest, and I found about a dozen compromises. The worst of which is in that photo. That's why I wanted to see that photo. But there's one spot where there's about an inch hole. There's another place where there's a tear and water runs through these openings instead of through the silt fence, which catches the silt. There were maybe 3 or 4 places where the water was literally tunneling underneath. I was there when it was raining and could observe it happening. And I carried a waterproof GoPro and I have video of it all. So I wonder if, I mean, it's wonderful to put in all these erosion mitigation features to protect the wetlands, and that's what we're here for. But you have to maintain them too. And when they tear or a hole gets put in them, a stake breaks off and it falls down like you did, those things have to be maintained. So I'm wondering if it's useful at all for me to go out there and, somehow flag each of these spots so the towing can be improved.
I can meet you out there and
Okay.
you can mark it.
Yeah.
And I'll just mark it as we go.
Yeah.
If you wanna do that.
I can bring some flags to help.
When do you want to meet?
First light tomorrow?
He really means first light, just so you know.
I'll be there.
All right,
Gotta go home and go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as I alluded to earlier, it's everybody putting our heads together. Yeah. These things progress.
Yeah. And I am, I'm good until about 1 o'clock tomorrow, but we have a student volunteer fair at
Right. What time?
2:15.
2:15 in Boylston.
So
Yeah.
what time do you want to meet, Brian?
I'll be whenever you want.
Okay, do I just come to the office?
Yeah, I'll be. You know my truck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll be.
Something, 8 o'clock, would that be okay?
Sure.
Yeah, I believe that storm event that Mr. Garner was referring to, that you referred to, was his equivalent of a 25-year storm. You know, unfortunately, for reasons that you know, I couldn't make the inspection that day.
Right.
I live in Leominster.
Well, we got 2 inches on Monday, and I was out there a couple of times. The road did not look, I didn't see it when it was flooded, that doesn't mean it wasn't.
It was only 2 hours. It was like, I couldn't believe it was gone.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
but it was all
But-
the way up there.
Yeah.
And then it was gone.
Okay. But there was very little in the silt sacks. I mean,
Right.
the water coming onto the street is pretty darn clean.
Well, I think in that case, it actually goes to your point
Yeah.
of it retained it for a couple of hours, it drained like it was supposed to. Nothing was actually in the sacks, so take the sacks out, see if this effect keeps continuing, and
Sure,
then we can
because if it's
diagnose
still
it.
backing up, then there's something
something
wrong.
else going down
There's something
downstream.
else happening.
Yeah,
So
I'm-
let's find that out now.
It's definitely a valid point,
Right.
so
Right.
let's do it.
All right.
I think it
Did,
could help with the whole situation. So it was running over where you see those downspout rivulets. It was running over, the lake was running over between units,
Right. So.
pouring.
Do you know?
Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you know if these plans are peer reviewed?
This.
The whole development, or
Oh,
did
yeah.
the town approve it?
Yeah,
The building inspector requested peer review of this?
I went to
project?
I wasn't part of this developer. He bought it with the permits, but I'm sure it went through planning board,
Yeah.
site plan approval, went through conservation commission, went through everything.
Right, that's not what I'm asking. Did the building inspector request
Well,
secondary?
the planning board standards. The planning board sent it out for peer review.
Right.
Okay.
This plan that I'm looking at right now with the red on it, the red indicates work that will be done.
Correct.
When?
Is obviously we want to as soon as possible. That is the short answer, because if they're going to be in this area where there's some puddling, we went out and took some spot shots. There were some areas where, there were some flat spots, and that's where obviously you get some no growth and puddling. We wanted to make sure we gave just a wide grass swale, no channeling of water, just to make sure that you get a good positive pitch and get this water. There's water that's coming from the downspouts, water that's coming overland. This is all grass. Make sure that the water gets there. So that should be done as soon as possible, because again, you want to try to get some germination and some growth. You don't want it to be, a mud puddle.
So in between these two lines is going to be the grass swale.
Yes.
And on either side now
Just kinda-
is riprap?
No, this is all lawn. This
Okay.
is all lawn. This is where that riprap coming off at end of Spofford, that they finalized that. That's
Okay.
pretty heavy duty. This is just all grass. This is all lawn. There's a slope that comes down from Spofford, slopes down, and then you have the slopes coming down, from the front yards to the back yards, because these are walkouts. And then you have, the downspouts, discharge, and there's a flat spot in here that's particularly flat. And I was out there, and you see the water, it flows. It's like about, a 1/16 inch. It's just flowing.
Just
flowing.
sheets.
It's just sheeting, but it's not breaking any records. So we wanted to make a little bit more of not a channel, but just a wide grass, gentle swale, just to and cut it down, just start here, cut it down maybe 6 inches, and then just go at a minimum of a 2% slope. Go more if you can, just to make sure the water gets there a little quicker, because the grass is dying and it just
And you believe
puddles.
that will,
Yes. We just got to get the water there, and at a more of a pitch. And so they'll blend these in and pitch them down, make sure the water's getting obviously away from the backyards and pretty much at the toe of the slope coming off of Spofford. So that needs to be done as soon as possible, because we want to try to, we're in middle end of September, get it done, get it
right,
jute netted,
we've only
get
got
it-
a couple of weeks of.
yeah, and hopefully the
maybe.
weather,
Right.
hopefully the weather stays warm. You get, cool nights, warm days, and get it germinating. So that needs to be done. And that was in Pat Garner's report. He says, he thinks it's a good idea, but it should be done as soon as possible.
Right, he did send his comments about this.
Right. So that's really the only area. The other part,
down here
that
is-
gravel road, the water is coming, sheeting off of there, and then this is the low spot of where the pavement ends, but then it just starts going and it starts rutting. So we want to make sure it stays pitched off to the shoulder of the road and have, a nice defined stone line channel and get the water, it doesn't keep it right. It's just
So
gonna-
that's gonna be regraded, that's gonna be just
Well,
sloped towards that swale?
The low spot on the road right now is right there in that corner, so we want to make sure we have, and then as it goes down, then it just starts, meandering, then all of a sudden it goes, and then it just starts rutting up, you get ruts like this, so but that is the low spot where it catches that, we have to make sure we catch it right there and put it in a well-defined channel so that it doesn't just start meandering and rutting out that gravel road, so, in terms of timing, it needs to be done, but this is more time sensitive just because of the
Well,
weather.
and then-
Well, and this too.
I mean, they're
and this
they're
too.
all.
Don't say, they're all
yeah.
important, but the things where it's more trying to get some grass growing
Yep.
is more time. And it'll all be done at the same time, but the first thing to be done is anything that where, we want to try to get some growth.
Did Pat weigh in on sod versus seed on these slopes?
Sod came up at one of the first meetings, and
It was mentioned at the
Yeah.
last meeting.
right.
Yeah.
And to go off of what Matt was saying, you've seen where they do jute netting and then sometimes it just undermines the jute. What's important is the roots. If you do sod, you have to have the roots start to grab, otherwise it'll just undermine it. It'll be for nothing.
It's like when jute netting gets undermined, you see what some of the construction guys I deal with call little tumors on the bottom, because everything just it holds the stuff back, but it's eroded down. With sod, you basically it's like liquid grass just going down, or it rolls back up. It just goes underneath and undermines it.
You need the roots. The roots is, the root, that grab, that's what holds
How
it.
long does it take to take root for sod?
Yeah.
It's pretty weather dependent. We're
Yeah,
running
but
out of
it's-
time.
It's like anything, it's weather dependent. So, I mean, it wouldn't take 2 weeks. It would probably take longer than that. It'd probably take like a month or two.
Right.
And even then, if it gets soggy underneath, it's, it's like a big mushy,
But you never know. With the way the weather's been doing opposite day, October could have every day over 80 degrees, sunny. I mean,
Right, well,
it's
August
just-
was cold.
it's just crazy.
Yep. All right, so I guess to kind of summarize where we're at, this work is going to get done as soon as, I do have one other thing I want to talk about, but this work is going to get done ASAP?
Yes.
We put a time frame to that, because ASAP could mean anything.
Sure. Agreed. You want to give me a time frame?
I talked to the landscaper who's gonna do that job and this job, and he said he could probably get there towards the end of next week.
So.
A couple weeks.
And anybody have a calendar?
No, the next Friday's the 29th.
Next Friday's the 29th.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, the grass swale, why can't they just put the stone in it? And it's done.
To be able, in my opinion, to have a wider grass channel, and then we can pitch some of the yard areas a little bit more to it, because there are some flat spots, you know, in some of the backyards. If you do you don't want a 10-foot wide stone channel. Just aesthetically, I don't think you'll
To
want
clarify,
that.
you're talking about the yards on Campbell Ave?
I'm talking about in the between Campbell and Spofford. Between Campbell and Spofford, I don't think you want a 10-foot wide stone line. I
What's
think
the cost difference between the two? Give or take by the yard?
I don't. It's
probably not much at all.
It's probably equivalent. I just think aesthetically, I'd rather have lawn and it can get mowed and I don't know.
I'm more concerned with it not actually draining the way that you're hoping it will.
I'm just trying to get the. I'm trying to get the water
over to here.
Over to here,
Exactly.
quicker.
So, sure. I would almost like to see a perforated pipe or something in this channel.
In the swale?
Yeah, in the swale, to help move the water to something underground.
You mean kind of like a wicking effect?
Yeah.
Yeah.
French drain.
I mean, if you're gonna have to do work there anyway,
Throw
a perforated pipe in there,
pipe in there, and then so.
and then grade the swale the way it says.
Yeah.
And still grass it? Still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then if it's saturated, it'll give the water.
It has some place for the water to go.
Well, the perforated one with the peanuts and the mesh, because if you just do a cheap little perforated pipe, it's gonna be clogged up.
Yeah.
So you gotta
Right.
do the good one,
Do
which
the
might
good
be,
one.
Yeah.
might need pictures of that.
Yep.
Like a French drain or something.
Yeah.
Better than
Yeah,
that.
just to keep the water
close.
going.
Okay,
The
hold on.
unit that's numbered 52, which is 21 Campbell. My first question would be, is that an accurate representation of how far you run that swale up towards the top of Wheeler?
Right, so
Well, there's at the end of. Are you in 52?
yeah.
I mean, okay, so it's not behind my house, nor is it my neighbor's.
But it's that's where it starts dropping off after you.
I would suggest that, I'm not.
I think he
an
said
expert on
Wheeler,
country
John.
line.
Oh, Wheeler?
No, he said Campbell, he's
Oh, I
here.
thought he said Wheeler, I'm sorry.
Runs from Spofford towards my house, the back of mine, it comes down from above me, and all along the houses on Campbell, people have standing water right up to their houses. There's no, even if you put a big swale, it looks like it's about 20 feet out at the center line.
Is that where the at the back corners where the downspouts? Like
Well, all
underneath
downspouts dump the water
underneath the
on
decks
the
where the
side of the
patios?
house. I'm sorry.
By where the patios are? Is that what you're talking?
For example, in my house, I
Yeah.
have water running down the side of my house
Yeah.
from the front downspouts.
Yeah,
The back downspouts dump out.
yeah.
Then they run under my deck and are eroding dirt and rock from under where the pylons are that hold my deck. And then it just sits out there between it's actually a 3-season room. My neighbor's is a 4-season room. It sits in there between the two patios. Doesn't drain at all. It's not part of that river, well, it is, but it's a very slow river that leads into the rest of the river running down that swale.
Because I was looking at more in the area of like
13 and 15.
49 and,
Yeah,
well,
17, 15, 13.
like the first, say, 3 build, if where that drain pipe is, like the first 3 units uphill from that,
I mean,
on
is there something
Campbell.
that's gonna draw the water
It looks like 7 through
away
15.
from the backs of those houses, and in addition,
There
the
might be
next
some,
3 that are up the side of, or the next 2 that go up to the top of Campbell on that.
and you're saying like in the back corners of the units, between
Between the units, the
Yes.
water, for example, runs from
And that's the
above me
downspouts.
against my
Right.
house.
Yes.
Down along the side
Which-
of my house, I think it does that at a number of houses.
the water just stays there.
Yes,
Never
and
goes
that's something that needs to be addressed, but where I have the swale going, that was in that kind of bigger, flatter area goes
Well, I
out.
would contend, and I
But
can't
that is, that's
publicly
that's an
saw it,
issue,
but
but
it-
that's a separate issue that needs to
But
be.
I
You're
would
gonna have
also
to start
suggest out
that
from our
swell.
houses,
Okay.
it is
Further.
flat.
Hold on,
It
Dave.
doesn't drain.
Right. So, okay. Dave, what were you going to say?
So I'm next to my neighbor here, and the water that's draining off 54, we're in 53, I don't know why it's 54.
Up on the high side.
23, but my neighbor's water is running out of her spouts, hitting my bulkhead foundation, eroding my bulkhead foundation, then running next to Tom, and it's going all the way down. I've got video of this, going all the way down and back of all these houses here. This swale that you have started at like number 50 is gonna have to go all the way up to 53, at least to be effective.
All right, we'll take a look at that, because I think there was an overall slope issue going from, say, on my plan, say 50, 49 down in there was a good-sized puddle. Where the grade started jumping up towards, 52, 53, 54, in all honesty, I didn't look up there because I'm like, oh, we have a gradient going up, but there is, obviously, there's a flat spot up there where the
Right,
downspouts
yeah,
are
you can
puddling
see
in
it
there.
right there.
Yep, yep, okay.
John?
Yeah, there seems to be, there's clear people here who have problems with water and people who don't. And in respect to what these gentlemen are trying to do, I don't believe anybody here actually had a chance to speak to these guys and explain what was going on at each property. Would it be beneficial rather than kind of have control chaos here, that these guys come and talk to the people?
This is one of the best ones so far.
Usually it's chaos.
These guys, people who are affected, and show them personally what's going on. I think it would be a lot more effective because it seems like they've done a lot of omissions of things.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I'm telling you, the grass and the slope behind Wheeler, if anyone here tells me that grass is growing, I got a problem, because there isn't. And we have jute that's hollow underneath. It looks like it's grass.
Right, which is what we were talking about.
Could we get a chance to speak to these gentlemen of the people who are affected? Some are affected, some aren't, and I know their time's valuable, but this I don't think is very effective, just kind of,
I
why
agree.
didn't you look here, why didn't you look there? I thought we were gonna get that chance, but we didn't.
Right, at the last meeting, it seemed, well, Alex kind of was like, yeah, if you see them out there kind of thing.
But if we could have a chance to take these guys, and it would take 10 minutes to walk around our house and say, like Dave and what everyone else, here's what's going on.
Right,
They would have a better picture.
It certainly seems like the downspouts are still an issue. And even with grass, the downspouts are gonna be an issue.
And what if they freeze in the winter?
And
The water
no,
goes
not
down,
what if.
When?
When?
Because then it's gonna back up the downspout, and you're gonna have other problems.
You're,
With the amount of money the guy's paying for you guys to do all this, and you keep trying and trying and trying, you would have had the underground system done. And
Yes.
would it be an issue? So when do you bite the bullet and just do it? Right. Instead of just trying to run uphill in the mud.
Words of wisdom.
And if
So,
you guys come
we're-
here every time with legal counsel, maybe these people should get legal counsel and figure out the best way to figure it out.
so I would like a recommendation from both of you, either of you, of how to permanently resolve the downspout issue for the October 4th meeting.
I think it would be a good idea, if maybe set a Saturday morning or something, go and talk to
Right,
these people.
so that's the other thing, so,
Yeah, for Brian, because
built their houses.
Brian's he's the job super.
Yep.
If there could be one person that can be his point of contact and say, okay, let's, just so, and say, let's get everybody to meet together, whoever's affected, and then have, to at least set a schedule or a time that he can meet with them.
So can I make that, I'm gonna nominate John, yeah? Before you guys leave here tonight,
Yeah.
I would like you, John and Matt and Brian to coordinate a time to either to figure out when you're gonna meet or to actually meet.
Okay.
I'm not gonna play everybody's social secretary, but before you guys leave here tonight, I want you guys to figure that out.
I would like Mr. Garner to also be present if possible.
Absolutely. I agree.
And if a commissioner wants to join in.
Yep.
Suggestion.
AJ?
Well, before the 4th of October.
Right, AJ's leaving for Norway for a month. It'd be
Lucky.
on October 4th.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
honestly, I don't disagree. I think, legs on the ground,
Yeah,
the heads
just-
together that we've done have made a lot of progress.
Agreed,
And
but
going to
we're
the
not there.
commissioner's point, with all due respect, if you
Yeah.
go lawyer versus lawyer, the only ones who are going to win are the lawyers. And trust me, I've been in court more times than I care to admit.
Okay, hold on, a whole bunch of people have had their hands up. I know.
John, then you made a good point about the first 3 units on Campbell Road. The other thing about getting the water into the swale as fast as possible on the way. I've talked to Brian about before, but the areas between those first 3 units, when the water comes down the hill, right now the land is landscaped, where the water goes into the foundation versus going away from the foundation.
Yeah.
So it's going into the foundation, running along the foundation and getting into basements. It's not graded the way it should be to get the water to the middle between those units down into that swale.
Right, and so that's what, I'm just, I understand your point, and that's why we're gonna they're gonna all set up a meeting, but, and I thank you.
Little, we put splash plates down, the V-shaped things.
Yeah.
All my neighbors did. Kevin, my neighbors did. It makes a huge difference, guys.
Okay.
They're $5.
Then somebody else has had their hand, all right, you two fight it out, one of you first.
Just a suggestion.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the neighborhood work, some people don't.
Correct, yep.
Just to set realistic expectations, I think you probably ought to have one during hours where people don't
That
necessarily
right,
work.
yep,
and
like a Saturday morning or,
something
yep.
for the other people that can't make it.
Now you?
And then Linda White, Spofford. So I don't know if you folks know that they have paved the rest of Wheeler and Spofford, in which they had the opportunity to drive the rainwater in certain directions. I don't know that anyone's looked at the top of and at the very end of Spofford, but that water is coming through our driveway and splitting and going out onto our grass.
What number are you?
Number 60.
Okay.
16.
Well, it's 16, but it's 60 on the...
On here, okay.
Last one.
So we're 60, so we're the last building, the last unit, and that water is coming down the hill. They didn't divert it, so it all went into the middle of the swale.
Yeah,
And
they-
at that end, it's coming on, which would have been like the logical thing
Yeah.
Sure.
to do. Ultimately, my husband's a contractor, but I'm not. And even I know that they should have pitched the road to be able to go to the middle of that swale for the water to run down. But
Sure.
it's still running down the hill that's down in the bottom of Wheeler.
Okay, good. Last one?
I even didn't fix it.
One quick thing, at the last meeting, you mentioned about the trees and the mulch on the trees.
Mhm.
None of that has been taken care of yet. And I'm also concerned about the pitch of the land going down to the first units on Wheeler. I don't know the numbers, the number 6, first one's on the left going down from the entrance to the units, entrance to the place. They're still empty. They're at the bottom of the swale that's coming down.
Here, maybe?
Numbers 66, 65, 64, and 63.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm concerned about the pitch of the hill going down there. They did, once the work order was lifted, they went in and they regraded, but the grading goes all the way to the top of the siding. They didn't leave enough space underneath the siding, so I'm concerned about the water that's gonna be traveling down there, both on that unit and then the one next to it. You can see it just by walking around, that the grading isn't correct, that it's too high against the houses.
Okay.
And the last one, 66, that's the one that had all the water back in June. They got water in the basement. There was several inches of water in there. So that's another concern because it's not graded properly.
So it sounds like you guys have, so we are in agreement that you're gonna meet with the neighbors
Yes.
all together. And everybody's gonna say their things.
actually gonna do this work now that we're gonna have this meeting and things are gonna
Yes.
change?
Well,
This definitely is not gonna change.
Yes.
This is not gonna change. This may get extended, but the basic premise is still
Yeah.
gonna be there.
Well, I mean, if they start the work now, the worst that's gonna happen is they just keep going.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
so
Right.
there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to at least start.
Right.
Yep.
This. What am I looking at there? Is that,
Is that the access to the basin? I don't know. That was on the base plan. Here's the berm of the basin. Is that what they had for?
There is a gravel berm going there, but it's not like a pronounced gravel berm. There's like a pathway going down there.
Okay.
I don't even think it goes all the way up here, but I know you can walk along here. There's
Yeah.
a pathway along here. You can walk to the spillway.
right.
So,
Like as a nature viewing spot? Or a sidewalk?
no, it's
Or
not a
just
sidewalk. It's-
for an access?
just like an access path.
For an access way so that
To the
somebody-
gate?
so they can get down to the
Do you
basin.
know what this is?
That must have been
I
for,
don't see it down
there must have been for access down to, to access, because you're supposed to get access to the basin to service it.
Right.
So it might have been like, have it just so
But
it's
it's
not.
not
Right, 'cause
actually
that's,
there.
well, it's not as pronounced as this, but there is a pathway that you can walk down the bottom here that actually is right about in this
It's just
area
not,
here.
it doesn't look like an asphalt.
Because I can walk and I can look right over the forebay, and I can walk right over to the spillway. So there is
If you
there is a
needed to
path
get
there.
equipment there, could you?
Yeah, if you had like a Bobcat or something.
If you had
to
a
get in there.
Bobcat, you could.
All right, all right, all right. Any conversation, please take out.
I think
Thank
that's
you.
what, I
Heavy
think,
equipment like now, like excavators, things to do scooping, I wouldn't put there right now. It's just too soft. I don't want to create more.
but she's
no,
just wondering
right.
what it was.
Right,
But I think
exactly.
that's
But yeah,
so that.
that's what it should be
If
for.
there's a path, if you need a path to get down to the basin to maintain
Service
it
it,
and do
right.
service, that's the path to go.
Right, so that leads me, a very good segue, to my last question. What is the plan for dredging the pond?
Well, we had discussed that at the last meeting, and
We
the
did?
plan was, the plan was to wait until this area was stable enough and dry enough to be able to support the equipment.
Okay.
Right now, still, it wouldn't support the equipment. When it does, we can go in there and get it done.
Okay, can we start putting together the plan so that when it dries out, we have the plan put together?
Yeah,
Okay,
shouldn't be very difficult to put on paper.
okay.
It's something
That-
I can
yes, that I
review
would-
with Pat Garner so we can make sure that we're in agreement with the procedures, because he may want things refined.
Sure.
That's fine.
Yep.
Just one more thing, talking about the swale and getting the water down as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, with the water not getting there as fast as possible, that area at the bottom fills up.
Right, well, that's, yes, we,
So getting more water in there is gonna cause that to even be worse at the bottom.
right, so some sort of solution about moving the water.
Well, I
Right,
think
I
that
mean-
was the reason why we were discussing
The
the wet
perforated,
perforated
yeah.
drain.
Yep.
I believe you were talking about
Get it
the
into the
fabric, to make sure that, we
Yeah,
get the
get it
good
into
stuff
the
in there.
ground.
Yeah, of course, yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
Just to help it get into the ground as well.
exactly.
because, I mean, I agree with the commissioner, we should make sure that, it has it's not the cheap stuff, because you don't want to have to dig that stuff up continually to replace it either. You want
Correct.
something that's going to last too. So,
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So, you're gonna start this work, you're gonna meet with the neighbors, you're gonna remove the silt fence. The
Silt
silt sacks, sorry. Anything else? I feel, you're gonna get a report, you're gonna put together some sort of recommendations to permanently
downspouts.
mitigate the downspouts, and you're gonna start working on the report for dredging the pond. All right,
All right, let's go.
I think we're good.
Everybody break.
and you guys can keep that extra copy. And that was what I was alluding to with the downspouts. We've got to do something to modify them,
Yes.
so.
Yep, something needs to be done, because what's happening is not working.
Yeah, don't disagree at all.
Right, and not just these, like, all the units. It appears as though it's a problem on all the units.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So,
agreed.
right, exactly.
It affects all of us because we are one community.
Right, yep,
Agreed, and actually, my report is actually supporting what you just said.
okay.
So,
We're in violent agreement.
We are in violent agreement. Just let's keep the pitchforks and.
Yeah, please, right?
I'm just wondering why. No one went around and spoke to the residents.
I don't know.
I mean, it seems to me that that would have been a good way to go about it.
Right. Can you repeat the question?
Right. So I'm just wondering what, okay, you know there's a lot of problems. So why someone didn't go around to each of the residents and say, do you have a problem? Is everything okay? You know, I mean, how many people have been up there doing site visits and that's never happened?
Right.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry.
Louise asked if once it became apparent that there were multiple issues, why someone from the developer didn't go around and ask everybody if they were having issues.
I think that would have saved a lot of time.
There really was no answer. Right. There is no answer.
Well, I think to put it into present-day perspective, to answer your question, the fact that everybody here is having productive discussion and that we've actually all been working together and we have made some progress, now's a good time to capitalize that and do the talking.
Right.
One thing I just wanted to ask is, given the weight of how badly we need it seeded and take root, what if that's not possible this fall and then the spring comes and it's going to be even more of a mess? What happens?
Yeah, we're going to work out what kind of leverage we have for that, because that is starting to look like it's going to be.
It's going to be another,
it's a likelihood.
It's going to be another maintenance.
Right. Yeah, but I just want to.
Yeah. It's going to be another maintenance.
Make sure that
managed.
It's probably something I should discuss with Patrick.
I agree.
Like some type of contingency planning.
I
It
agree.
is an excellent point, so. All right.
Yep.
And can you believe I can actually read this writing?
As long as one of us can.
Yeah.
Not many can.
You should have been a doctor.
No.
Okay, so Brian will meet with John, get his number, or you have his number.
Right. I mean, why don't you guys just
Oh,
go?
yeah, you were not gonna.
Yep.
Okay.
Just go figure it out.
Stay standing and getting out of here.
Good to see you, Joe.
All right, good seeing you. All right, thank you very much.
Now, is Dudley Road going to be?
Just stay here.
Well,
Borrow it? No, I want to borrow it for like a couple days. Can I
Bring it back.
demand on it?
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
At next meeting, is Dudley Road going to be before this?
Talk to the schedule lady. I think it's back. And come on up.
And
I
the stuff with
appreciate
the
your
sub-
patience.
I guess
And
that
we-
area wasn't called Devil's Hollow for nothing.
Is that what it was called?
Yes.
Yeah, what relation are you to Ron?
He's my uncle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They call it Devil's
was.
Hollow up there?
Oh, Devil's
Yes.
Triangle.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Wow.
You guys didn't know that?
No.
I've heard stories, but folklore growing
That's what
up.
we always called it, yeah.
Right.
Did you sign?
And we moved there in
Did you sign in?
1970. Oh, yes.
I don't know that those people would want to know that's what it's been called. It was always called.
That's what Dave Burke told me.
Oh,
We live
really?
on the corner of, he called it the Devil Triangle, so we're on the corner at the end of it. But the Native Americans, we have this big pile of rocks, and they told us that when they did pile the rocks, that meant that something bad happened, and that was what was on our property. Some very bad thing happened there, so we don't touch that pile of rocks. We leave it alone.
Yeah,
They were piled around somebody.
All right. So, Anne.
Yes.
Bring us up to date.
Well, I don't really have anything new to report. I did bring copies of, the plan as it stands now, which shows, I think these are probably where they'd like things to be. The test holes are scheduled for October 5th and 6th. So Connor Stone will be able to get together a more final plan after that.
Okay.
But I think if anybody is interested in.
And we discussed extending the CR. Do you have any feelings about that?
I'm not against it especially. I would like to, wait until the planning board has approved the subdivision.
All right. Because you are concerned that they won't?
No, not especially. I just would like to wait, that's all.
Right. Okay.
I mean, what if we end up, anything can happen between now and then, I mean.
Right.
There's already, the majority of that property is already.
Protected.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
I'm trying to, and just so you go down South Street by the old original house, the big house at the
Yes,
top of the hill,
yep.
and you go down, there's a house at the bottom of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Is that on here?
Yes.
Which one is it?
It's the lot 3, right next to the driving range property.
That was when they used to
area.
have the tarps on the roof.
Way down there, oh, so there's, all right.
Yeah.
It's just a
So-
small house, you probably may have never
So
even
where's the
noticed
lot
it.
you're
so.
gonna do? This one here? Where's the lot they're talking about?
No, so
Close
she's gonna, with the
Yeah.
planning board, divide the property into 4 lots.
Right.
Like that.
I got that.
And we're talking about, this is the
Mm-hmm.
current limits of the conservation restriction. And I would feel more comfortable about the dividing
mhm.
if the CR extended all the way back.
Oh, yeah, to the other brook.
Yeah, just so that the people who buy these houses know the whole
Oh, so you're not
lot
gonna,
is.
this isn't for the purpose of building an additional house?
Well, there will be
one.
one buildable lot, yes, in between the big house and the smaller house.
Right, so
okay,
it
up
will,
and
it's
on,
what
yeah.
will become Lot 2.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right, got it, fine.
right.
How big is lot 2?
It's, I think the dimensions are on it.
That's awfully little.
You know what, I have.
23,000, no. Yeah, this is what I do.
Lot 2,
Take my
oh yeah, this doesn't
phone,
have it on it.
And I enlarge it.
Looks like
230,412 square feet.
Yes.
Yep.
232.
Well, this is all between two rivers, the two North Brook. This is unbuildable down here and
North Brook's
everything.
down here.
Yeah, but
What's
this is
that?
all wetland, a lot of wetland.
Right.
down
Yes.
here.
Yep.
This is wet in here.
Yeah, what's lot
Math.
4?
Pardon me?
Lot 4.
Lot 4 is where the the former driving range,
Do that?
on the corner.
I have to look.
So that's not gonna be like a house lot?
Acres.
No, that's commercial.
Right, that's not zoned residential.
Yeah, you need
I was
to.
gonna say, I think it's in the utilities and.
Yep.
Would
Yep.
you ever rebuild the driving range, or?
We don't know. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, it's a
What's going on,
possibility.
or, I don't know if it's.
I mean, not
relative or
personally,
Right.
but
What's up
you
with the
know.
roof down there, do you know?
that last
fell
bad
in?
storm on, a couple of weeks ago on the Friday,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah.
it blew like
Oh, it went
40% of it off,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so.
Has the big house been sold?
No, nothing, it's been
Nothing
sold.
yet.
We're just trying to figure out the best way to,
Yeah. And the small house
Move
is
forward,
empty
yeah.
right now?
it is.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I'm just doing math. You can go. You go first.
Yeah, I mean, does anybody have any comments? I'm fine with this. I would love to see you guys be able to, get from this what you need to.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
looking at
And I know there's been a bunch of proposals that haven't panned out, and I think this is a very
plenty.
appropriate solution, personally.
So what's the deal? Are there multiple houses here on the same lot?
There's a
Is that-
house here,
Okay.
That's a big house.
current, so it's right
Okay.
now all one lot.
Yeah, and the,
There's a house here, and there's a house here.
okay.
Right. So by dividing it, they'll be able to get one buildable lot.
Gotcha.
And the 2 house lots.
Okay.
So the
Less than that.
conservation land would just sit idle, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
in CR,
Yeah.
right?
You know, I did want to ask something, though, just to, be able to clarify for future buyers. I know they can't build anything on that, but could they use that for gardening area? Vegetable garden,
Certainly,
whatever?
yeah,
Okay, that's what I
yeah.
thought.
So
So it's perfectly usable, but.
right,
just-
the stipulations that are in the CR as it is now
Mm-hmm.
will be in place for all
Yes.
4 lots. Right,
Yes.
so it's the same limitations.
Right.
I know it says
Right.
not, you can't disturb any soil. If someone wanted to put a garden in, they
Right,
could put a
okay.
garden in.
I think it'd be great to see that with gardens.
Right,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
like a cornfield might be a different, you know what I mean?
Well, what about, one idea I had for the, that commercial lot, what I think would be really nice there would be like a flower farm or something with a florist shop.
Right.
Is that something that might be approved? Not for
We'd have-
myself,
Right, we'd have to
probably,
look
but-
at the CR more closely and see what it allows for agriculture, because a lot of them do, especially in Berlin.
No, I thought agriculture is agriculture. No?
Different levels of it. Different.
Right, right.
Huh,
So
okay.
we'd look at the CR and see what would be possible.
Yeah, it's just a thought that crossed my
Sure.
mind, just to,
Yeah, it would be a fabulous spot for something like that, that's for sure.
trying to think of different ideas.
Right. Sadly, no one else wants to put a driving range there.
No, there's have been some inquiries, I think, but, and it seems to me that there would still be, even after, part of that area, like this lot right here, this is behind the existing house, and that's mostly trees down there. So the driving range, the
Is
field.
really still right
yes,
here.
Yes,
Yeah.
So somebody could still do that.
Yeah.
And we are replacing the roof, that's gonna be taken care of, and,
Yep.
it'll be a nice little building to use for something.
Right.
Either that again or something else.
Yep. Yeah, it was a great use of that.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
What are we determining tonight?
We're,
Oh, just reviewing it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
yeah, just
Yeah.
kind of getting an
Yep.
update and reviewing, now, especially now that the wells and the septics are laid out.
And it's the best plan we've seen out of
Yeah.
all the
Yep.
clusters of ideas I've seen come through.
Exactly. Yep, yep,
And they have ample space. They have the acreage, they have the frontage.
yeah.
It's houses.
all
And then there's
dry,
still commercial, and then there's even, I don't remember this being here, this,
That little
That's
jog.
the,
Yeah.
that's the easement for the power lines.
No, it's
No,
not.
this
No, I don't know
CR
why they
comes
did
up
that.
now.
Yeah,
I don't remember the CR bumping up to the road.
I'm pretty.
Every plan that I've
Isn't that
seen.
because that's the easement for the power lines?
No, that's this
That-
dotted line
Yeah,
over
it's the
here.
dash lines.
So
Yeah.
this plan's showing a jog up, almost like access to the CR.
exactly. That's
I don't know what
I
that's
don't know
about,
why
but
Berlin
it is
wanted
kinda
it
nice to
drawn
see
that way.
Well, if something changes, we have access.
It may have been, I know that they had to that a certain amount of land had to be protected, and that
Okay,
may
maybe-
have been added to the, to
Okay.
the square
Yeah,
footage.
yeah.
Or it was so that there's road frontage. I don't really know why that would
That
matter,
doesn't
but.
count. So my only thing with that, now that you just did that calc for square footage, this line doesn't change, the 100-year, that's
No.
not changed. So if you've added this here, because you needed it, where did she come from? So what's the old CR line overlay to the new CR?
That is not new. It's always been that shape.
Right, the CR doesn't change. Everything that's on here as the CR has
Yeah, but
always been.
we just said this jog house wasn't there.
Yes, it was. It's always
had to
been
be.
there.
Just because you don't remember it doesn't mean it wasn't there.
Yeah, all of this gray area is the CR area.
Been there since they
So
put it
this
on.
line here has
Even
always
this?
been here, and this jog here has always been there.
Yep. We don't know why that's always,
Fair enough.
it's there.
I stand
but-
corrected.
Okay.
Disregard.
Okay.
I have another question.
Sure.
Okay, when you look down here, it says Lot 2 and Lot 3.
If you look
What was the
where?
question?
Okay, so,
Oh, those are old lots. Lot C here, next to the driving range, that's where the autism center is now. It was originally Pure Hockey,
Oh, okay.
right at the Rotary. Lot 1 has been sold, and Mr. Durkin has built a house there, and these 2 lots right here have previously sold.
oh, okay.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, because you had a lot to here, and I'm going, well, how do those connect?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
like
it's-
All right, yeah, it looks good, and like Kyle said, it's certainly the best plan that we've seen for
Okay.
the property.
All right, so maybe, if we have better plans, maybe at your next meeting, can come and show you to them then.
Okay.
You'll know
Yeah, I
what's
mean,
going
I
on.
don't know that we need to vote on anything.
Okay.
Subdivision would have to go between planning board first.
Right.
Right.
Prior
That
to-
was my understanding.
Yes, yep. Right, and on planning, I think they wanted, one of these lots, the frontage wasn't shown the way they wanted to see it or
Yes,
something.
I'm sure that will be,
Yeah,
more specific
right,
on the final plan.
right. Excellent. Good job.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to give that back
Oh,
to
you
you.
guys can keep
All
them.
right.
Little souvenir.
Thanks. And thanks
Thank
again
you.
for waiting.
Okay.
For being
Yeah, it was
patient.
kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
been an interesting summer.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
All right, thanks. Come on up, guys. Last one of the night.
See
And
some of you.
I'm gonna ask you to sign in and then introduce yourselves, and we'll catch everybody up.
Yeah, well, hi everyone. My name's Christos Katrubis. I'm the attorney for the Stevens family. And with me is Mike Scott. He's the engineer. He's the one with the knowledge and information, so you're going to be hearing mostly from him today.
So this is
Oh.
concerning the enforcement order that we placed on 100 River Road in 2020? Was it?
2021, I think it was issued
No, I think it,
in January.
was it? Oh, maybe.
Or even
Maybe.
2022, but yes.
It was during COVID, because I remember all of us standing very far apart on the first site walk.
Right, so subsequent to that, our client bought it. And
Correct.
Of course, we were out there, a few of us, 6 weeks ago or whatever.
Yep.
That's what I thought.
Bat in a thousand.
Good timing.
At least I
Good
someone
timing.
seconded it, huh?
That was good. Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful.
So effectively, at this point, what they've done is, the erosion control barriers went in this week. S&M Farms was out there. I went out, took a few pictures. If you care to see them, I can show them to you, but you can also walk it. All they've done so far is put in the erosion control barriers.
Okay, I definitely would like to get someone out there to inspect it.
They were pre-staked, and the stakes are still in, so you can see that they followed the line that was on the approved plan.
Okay,
That's about where it's at. And it's neat and tidy, like S&M always does. They didn't make a mess, and it's pretty obvious it's on the line that it was supposed to be on, so. It's just a
Okay.
matter now of whether they want to do the work this fall, and it's getting kind of late, so.
it is getting
Right.
kind of late.
So if they can get someone out there in a couple weeks, maybe, otherwise it will be in the spring, and the erosion control barriers will have to be checked.
Right,
for
did
adequacy.
you happen to bring any paper?
No.
Any maps?
I brought the
any-
plan
the
that was
plan?
approved, and it's on my screen. I didn't bring
Yeah,
it.
so last time,
Yeah,
yeah,
that would
last,
be great.
last time we met, I think that was an outstanding question,
Oh,
whether or not
sorry.
we're going to adopt that plan.
Correct.
And the
That's-
answer is yes.
Right,
So
so
they're gonna
that's,
do the
right,
cleanup
and
of
so
the-
that's actually why I wanted you to come in, because I didn't want us to be the only one to say, yes, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I wanted, the commission to be able to weigh in on that.
So the plan was to follow the enforcement order. So that's the erosion control barrier, limits that were staked. So it's just to clean up the prior owner's mess at this point.
Right.
And then try to develop a plan over the winter that can either go to building and, zoning, whoever needs to see it, planning, site plan, and you folks, for some type of future development.
Right.
Because we had a meeting with the building commissioner, and doesn't sound like we can extend the use where the old building that's come down is. There's still, the septic system was designed by us, ready to go to Neshoba Board of Health. We've never submitted it because we don't know what the use is.
Right.
So it sounds like there may be an interest of putting that old building back up.
But more as like a storage use.
Kind of replace the building that they tore down, and then
Right.
go from there and deal with building and
This is
zoning.
the backside of the brick farmhouse?
No, this would be the building they took down on the left.
When you first drive in to the
To the
left.
left, to the left of
Oh.
the large barn, the building that they took down
Okay.
in the last 6 months or so.
Yep.
Was the enforcement order on a
Did
previous
they
owner?
Yep.
go through the?
But they bought the property. It follows the
historical
property.
commission?
Yeah.
They tore, that building, I don't know when that building was constructed,
I don't remember this.
I'm not sure.
the one they took down. They filed a demo permit, I believe, for that. This
Yeah.
was the metal barn that was on the left.
Yeah, I don't
that's-
think it was.
It wasn't the old wood
No.
barn.
Oh, no, the wooden barn's been, if you've driven by it, they've put
Right,
a bunch of time and
Well,
money into that.
We've driven by, we just can't see because of the fence with the black netting.
Well, oh, the one on the right?
Any,
barn on the
you,
right?
any, you can't see what's
Yeah.
going on in there,
The contractor is worried about his equipment, so.
In Berlin?
right?
But, yeah. Well, you've met him.
Indeed.
No comment.
Stuff doesn't happen in
So-
Berlin.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, but
Seems odd.
But I mean, in terms of coming by, I think, I know that Brian Stevens has said it, I'll say it again. Anytime anyone wants to come by, the doors are always open. So I'll just say that.
The contractor agrees with this sediment?
So, yes, and I think, well, we had some talks because there's some logistical issues. I think that we're gonna have a different contractor do this work.
I think that's such a good idea.
So,
That's one of the
But-
reasons, that's one of the
oh,
reasons it
but-
hasn't
so,
started.
But, right,
that
but
the
there
other
was
gentleman
somebody in Hudson, there was somebody at that
Marlboro.
site meeting.
Right.
Was he from Marlboro?
Yeah.
he's from Ashburnham.
The
Okay.
contractor was from Ashburnham, the owner's from Marlboro. I don't know where the third party was, the one you,
think
the
that-
Yeah, it-
contractor you're talking about.
I
May have
think it was
also
the guy
been-
from Marlboro.
He may have also-
Jim
I-
Moran.
He rents,
Yeah, Moran.
I don't have
Yeah.
a clue where he's from, but,
Okay, right, so I thought he was there, no.
Oh.
so we're gonna likely go with someone else for this work.
Okay,
so if someone feels, I spoke to a contractor, had him on site the other day. He says he can do the work in 2 weeks. The question is, can he get a contract? And does he want to take the risk of finding stuff that then doesn't happen and be done in 2 weeks? If there's something buried there that he has to get rid of. Since
right.
that's the concern, is that
Sure,
that it's not
right.
all brush, I guess, is the
Right.
easiest way to put it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he stops because he has to renegotiate to have stuff hauled off-site, because it's whatever it is.
Crazy man.
Worst
Yeah.
case scenario, it's hazardous, and DEP shows up, and now
Right.
you're stymied. So now you have a mess, so that's what we'd rather not see happen.
Sure.
So if it had started 2 months ago, maybe it'd be done, but now, it'd probably happen in the spring, even though they put the erosion barriers in,
Right,
which probably have to be revisited. And
right. Well, we still
But he
have
could still-
plenty of.
but someone could test it.
Those machines are heated.
Yeah, but there's no growing.
Ground's not gonna
I think
freeze till-
No, but the worry is you get a big 3-to-1 slope that's 30
Sure.
feet tall. Now you have a slope in the buffer zone that
Right.
washes out on the north-facing side. Then
Yeah, no,
You know.
good, valid
No, I'm
point.
with you. I
Yeah.
saw the momentum and I thought, let's get this going now and finish if we can, but.
Right,
so ideally
That's
you
gonna
go
be
out and do a
nice.
few test pits and say, okay, I found nothing but 6 scoops of good stuff.
Yeah.
And he decides to risk it,
right.
but that's
Right,
best case.
but I do agree as far as, it will freeze in place and erosion won't really be an issue.
Till the
Well,
spring.
theoretically, it's gonna freeze, who knows these days.
Right.
Yeah,
Just wash away in the meantime. But we did a site in Lancaster like this 2 years ago. It was 5 acres, and when it thawed, there's a north-facing slope. It was a muddy mess
yeah, yep.
because nothing
And
took.
as you saw, I have enough messes going on in town right now. I really
Yeah, we don't
don't
wanna-
need
And right now, this
an
isn't a mess.
additional
I
one.
mean, it's not a
Correct.
mess that's going to go to the wetlands. It's so.
Right.
So weirdly, I only have our order of conditions that we issued. I don't have like
You
their
don't have
plans.
the plan?
I have
Okay.
empty FedEx.
Excellent.
So I mean, I have the plan on the screen. It's tiny,
Okay.
but the bottom
Okay.
line is,
Right.
you can pass it around. It was 370 something feet of erosion control barrier from one side of the top of the hill down to along the bottom and
Right.
back up.
Okay.
And it's really obvious that they put it where it belongs because it's right in front of one of the towers or tanks.
Can you get us a paper copy of that?
Oh, yeah,
As
sure.
well,
Yep.
for the file?
Yep. And we can send you, yeah.
Right. as well as the digital. I mean, I think we actually
we
have
have
the
the digital.
digital.
Yeah,
as
because I
well.
got this from you as
Yeah.
part of the notice of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, but
Yep, I can make a hard copy.
That'd be great.
Yep, and drop it off. And then, as soon as we know who it is that's gonna do the work, well, and if it's gonna even likely happen if it's gonna happen now. then-
I mean, yeah, my concern is the mess. That's what I want to avoid. I don't want to be back here with a mess. So
Right.
if there was an overwhelming kind of consensus saying, go for it, I think it's a good idea to start now. I'd say, fine, let's do it. But at this point, my concern is
right.
pushing me to the spring.
I tend to agree.
And that way it's, all right, we have we know what we need to do. We've got the erosion control barriers in place and we just do it.
Right.
Just get it done.
And then seed it and,
Right.
Yep, and then come back, because I think we know now.
Right.
There were some discussions about off-site water supply. That seems like it's resolving itself one way or the other, not
Yeah.
necessarily favorably in the short term.
At least for now, right? That's not going to be.
As quick as they'd hoped.
Yeah, I thought it was something that was potentially going to be on the board for at least, I think this, maybe in May initially, and then it was possibly in December, and then now the answer is, I don't think it's going to be in December or January, whenever the town meeting is going to be.
town meetings in May.
Okay. I thought there was going to be another meeting. No, it's not going to happen?
Heard the other day there's not going to be a winter town meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So.
So then it won't happen until.
No, because the main reason that it was going to happen is no longer.
Got it.
No big deal.
Well,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was told, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think overall, I don't know if anyone cares, but I think overall,
Yep.
it's the idea is we'll start, we'll have the use being storage or whatever we need to do. We have some water supply that we'll have to dig a well at some point, and we'll have to obviously submit plans and
So what is
go through
the
all of
issue
that.
with the use group
Well, the water supply might not be sufficient.
for a change of use group?
Yeah, I think.
Where's the
For a
well
larger
now?
building.
Where's
Larger
the water
building.
supply now?
I know.
I think it was right behind the house, I think.
Was it?
Or,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
the right side of the house, and
Mm.
and the only sanitary was on the left side of the house, so.
I
We've
remember
designed a
when-
new septic for
yeah.
the right side, so the well's gotta go.
Used to be a cistern way up where all those other houses are built, and it ran down through a lead pipe.
Nice.
Ooh, the good stuff.
And they hooked their hose up to
Put your
it.
bucket in and you drank out of it. Yeah.
And he's still alive.
You turned out all right. Yeah, you turned out all right.
My hair's starting to fall out though,
Yeah.
finally.
You've had a good run, Walter.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, they used to shut the spigot off at night. Then in the morning, the hired hand would come in, open the spigot and drink. So the water was in that lead pipe all night.
Nice.
And he did, after a few years, died. His hair fell out, he had all kinds of problems, and he died. This is going back in the 20s. And I was drinking it in the 50s, so.
I was gonna say, that
You drank all the
They
lead.
let it ran all,
They
ran all
let it
the
run.
way.
Bleached it out.
But when
Wow.
the squirrel got in the cistern way up top and died, you could taste it. So then you go up with a bucket, drop down, get the dead squirrel out.
Run the water a little, clean it out.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those were the
Men were
days,
men.
huh?
Yeah, there you go.
That's funny.
All right, excellent. So, is anybody want to do the site walk too?
I'll do
it. Okay, to check
Down
the
that-
erosion control?
Okay.
Do it if you want. I could-
It's actually not
Yeah,
too
Lord.
bad a walk down. They clear,
Yeah.
it's flat enough.
Yeah.
They
Oh.
brush hogged, and I'm not brush hogged, they ditch witched it, and they did clear a little bit.
Nice.
So they cut a few trees or, down stuff. That's not too bad. I walked it Monday, Tuesday. whenever it was.
Better than
Friday
it
or
was
Monday.
6 weeks ago when we
You can
tried to
actually,
walk
yeah, I
down
didn't
there?
trip. I didn't.
I fell down that hill.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah, it was awesome.
Did
Yeah.
you?
Oh yeah, it was a great time. Loved it.
Are you gonna go on the sidewalk?
I'm going to Maine. Surprise. Yeah, I'm out.
But yeah,
It's okay, I'll take along with Walter.
When are you doing?
When is it?
Yeah, when?
No,
You
when
tell us.
you,
All right.
right,
Yeah. That's
I leave for
whatever's
Maine
convenient for you.
tomorrow. So
right.
Good.
I know. Sorry. Gotta go.
When are you planning on going?
Want to go tomorrow?
It's
Well,
it's still
Brian
pretty
Tomorrow morning.
treacherous.
Oh, okay.
You can do it by yourself,
Yeah, I can do it. It's not a big deal.
if that's okay with them.
The Boy Scouts is like a
Right.
parents thing.
Is there anyone on site?
We'll meet.
There was nobody
Yeah.
there, there was nobody there when I was there the other day.
Right.
Okay.
I met S&M Farms to set them up, and then I went out and checked the day.
Well, let's look at it tomorrow. When you, 1 o'clock on, I can't. So it has to be in the morning.
So I have if I could meet you there at 8
8
or
in the morning?
earlier, would work, because I have a
Sure.
9 o'clock.
8 o'clock, make it 8.
Okay. I'll be there at 8. Okay.
Make sure you wear camouflage.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's a multi-purpose trip.
Who's taking me out? Oh.
He's scouting. All right.
Okay.
Right, so you're gonna get us a paper copy
Yeah,
of that?
I'll bring
You're
one,
gonna
I'll
check.
bring one in
8 o'clock.
Don't you wake up at like
Bring it back, bring it to the office.
Just
I'll
send
swing
it,
it.
just
like
bring
three
it
in the
here.
morning. I'll swing by
Thank
the
you. That'd be
Don't
great.
you wake up at
Okay.
like 3 in the
Thank you.
morning?
5:30.
Got it.
Yeah.
Usually,
Awesome.
Cool.
Anybody have anything else for these guys?
Thanks for waiting.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you for waiting as
There was a
It
lot
was
well.
entertaining from out in the hall.
Sometimes
for
it's
you guys.
entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah.
Painful.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we started the evening with the train derailment, and
We have
yeah,
lots of exciting.
we've had 3
going on.
train derailments this summer.
Wow.
Plus you guys, plus all that. But- So yeah, it's just.
Crazy. Good summer.
I'm gonna go to Maine with
Yeah.
Kyle.
I looked out, they
Just bring
changed
your
the
own
whole
tent,
summer
right?
Yeah,
schedule
bring
one
it,
time when
yeah.
I was gone, and I missed all the meetings because I already had plans.
Yeah. But we are back on a regular 2-meeting-a-month schedule, and so.
I wanted to vote on that tonight. After. Once a month is nice.
It is nice, especially when you miss them all.
Yeah.
Me?
No,
All
we-
right, all right, all right, all right.
So what, I guess for future, I
Yep.
mean, I know it's way out, but when would you want us to come back? And,
I mean, maybe we touch base in February, March.
yeah, yep.
Just to see, we'll have a much better idea of what's happening weather-wise, and you can let us know what the plan is.
Right, we might have to work with the erosion control barriers a little bit.
Right.
We'll see what happens.
You're right,
if
see
it-
how
if we
they
need to-
survive the winter.
Yeah, so, okay. Yeah, that sounds great.
Cool.
Awesome.
So what is that facility? What's it gonna be?
So, well, the idea was to make it open to the public and be like a museum type of, I don't know what you want to call it.
Facility.
Facility. That people could come in. So right now, unfortunately, because we're having, again, issues, that might not be able to be accomplished right away, particularly with the water supply and everything like that, but that's the ultimate goal. So as things progress with the water next door, the parcel next door, and I think by that time, everything, at least the structure should be in a good place, and then we can move to that, and then slowly but surely get there.
Right.
That's the idea. And who knows what it'll end up being. I mean, it's a great space, so I think some public use for, I don't know what. I mean,
Right.
kind of.
Did you know
Be
that
great.
there's a documentary coming out about Spooky World?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I heard that. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm not going to be in it. I didn't make it. No, I didn't make the cut.
Excellent. And was there, no, I think that's it for now.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good.
All right, then we'll see
Thank you
tomorrow.
both
I'll
very
drop
much.
something
Yeah,
off.
thank
Are
you.
Does it matter? Who should I leave it with? I'll just come here after the walk.
You can leave it either, so the select board secretary should be
Okay.
there,
Okay.
or our mailboxes are right here on the side.
All right, I'll find it.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
You too. You too.
Can we just like vote down too?
All right. Now we have to go back to the top of the meeting.
Oh my
Top
God,
of
are
the
you serious?
agenda.
It's past my bedtime.
Oh, that's brutal.
Can't we make a motion to skip it till next time?
Well,
Seriously.
unfortunately, there are a couple things that definitely need to be attended to tonight. For,
Well, there goes Walter, so
I
there's
know.
that. All right, cool, we'll wait.
Well, just approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
I
Everybody.
make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting
Second.
on the
Second.
date that the meeting was.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Just out of curiosity, I saw Louise had a comment about the street name, like Swarford versus Spofford, but the,
Spofford.
so the plan was just wrong?
Oh, did it say
It said
something?
Spofford.
Oh.
which I
Did
think
it
is-
say? 'Cause
Yeah.
That's where I got.
But one of the residents also said Spofford, so.
I think
believe
it's
it's
just
Spofford.
SPO.
On the,
FFORD.
okay, because on the print, it's what,
It says
Maddie
Spofford.
had in the,
Well,
yeah.
you know, I've seen it spelled that way, so I looked it up. You know, I typed in Spofford, Berlin, Mass, and it popped right up. And I believe it's that on the street listing.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Then maybe their plan is just wrong, but I saw your comment and I saw the drawing and I was like, oh, maybe that's where she got it from.
Yeah, that's
All
where I
right,
got it.
can we vote on the minutes?
I've been out there 20 times.
No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Treasurer's report.
No treasurer's report.
No treasurer's report.
Slack.
Okay.
That's a disaster.
Yeah. So Maddie, you and Robin and I are gonna
I'll work on.
all work on sorting that out. We just voted to approve the minutes from previous meeting.
Aye.
Okay. Bills and forms.
Bills, we got bills. We got KP Law.
KP Law. So the 525, is that in,
Like, I was wondering, was that from the last meeting? 'Cause
right,
did
didn't
vote.
we vote to pay
Okay,
that?
KP Law, yeah.
I was gonna say, I thought I saw, well, I saw an email about it. Maybe that's where I saw it.
Right. Actually, it was in the minutes
Right.
Yeah,
that we just approved.
yeah, like 567 or something that we approved to pay.
So, yeah, that's this. So I'm gonna let you clarify that with June.
Okay.
Right, because it's 543.
Right, 500 came from one account and from last year's account.
From last year's
And the
budget, and the
rest-
balance came
right.
from this year's budget. So, this is all for 72 Carter. So there's two charges. One is $1,584, and the other is $543.21, which I believe that we have already voted to pay. So I need a motion to pay. I'm just trying to decide which the motion should be. So so $2,109 if the $500 is not the same that we voted for last time. That way we cover ourselves.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask you to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, now, I'm gonna skip that one because that one still makes me angry. So, when we were talking about, a couple months ago, about just a one-page, 1 or 2 page document, I think I sent it around for everybody to see, so that we would have the ability to fine. I talked to our new town council, which is Petrini and Associates, only to find out that that document would not do what we wanted it to do. We need to have a bylaw in order to be able to fine.
So?
So we have a bill for my conversation.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't pay that bill, but let's have a bylaw.
Right. So the bill is for $210.
So I'll make a motion to approve to pay Petrini and Associates $210 for
Second.
that conversation.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There. So we do have a full schedule for that one at least.
All right.
Who seconded?
Alter did.
Walter, yeah.
Yep. And I don't know if everyone needs to sign this, but since we're all here, let's all sign it. And then the last one. So, learn something every time we do a CPA project. We did not ask for enough money from CPA for 72 Carter. We asked for enough money to purchase it, but we didn't ask for additional money for legal fees and other fees. We thought, Tim and I thought that we could use administrative money that gets put into the administrative account to pay for the Phase 1 study that the lawyer wanted us to do. Turns out we cannot do that post-vote. We can only take money from the administrative fee for things like this prior to any town meeting vote. So, unfortunately, we're gonna have to pay. So both of the lawyer, we didn't say which, I don't want this to come out of open space. I want this to come out, the land use conversation, that should come out of, I guess, our budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the 210.
The 210, right. So I'll let you correct that. But the lawyer fees, that's gonna have to come out of open space. So we are stuck paying $3,500. Yeah. From open space.
yeah.
It's the only account we can pay it from. And with the other vote that we just made, we've got like $2,000 left in open space. Which, yes, I have talked to everybody, and everybody has tried to figure out a different way to pay this bill. It needs to be paid. If it doesn't get paid, we can't June can't release the money to buy the land. So
So life lesson.
it's a life lesson.
But
It's an expensive one, but
do we know that amount when we go to ask for the money for the CPA? How much the lawyer fees are gonna be? Can we, I mean.
we can
know.
estimate.
We can estimate, so we
Yes.
always estimate a little more.
Correct.
So if there's any excess, we just.
Don't take the money.
Don't take it, so it's
Correct.
best to just fluff it
Correct.
for the future, like
Yep.
10,000 or
Yeah,
something.
so like the fence at the community garden,
Yes.
they overestimated.
Oh, that's good.
And it wound up coming in under budget.
Good.
Yeah. But, for the amount of time that things like that take, you put in a little extra for inflation, and
Okay.
unexpected
Alright.
costs, so you can do that with CPA, yes. So anyway, so I need a motion to pay $3,500 out of open space for the Phase 1 study for 72 Carter.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask you to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Do we have any other mail or bills or anything we have to pay attention to?
Nope, that pretty much covers that.
Sorry. Bad throw.
Do we need any mention of this, or was this discussed at a previous meeting?
Right, so what is this?
This was for 66 Gates Pond Road. It's an additional fee requested by DEP.
Oh, good.
So,
Yeah, DEP didn't agree with the way they calculated how much
Okay.
the fee was.
okay.
Yep. So, How about after the meeting, you and Maddie get together about how to do that?
Sure.
Okay. And I think that's all I have. I know you, AJ and Louise, you've got a couple of things.
About the community
Yeah, go
service
ahead.
intern program. Okay, so tomorrow at 2:15, AJ and I are meeting at Tohoto Regional to, they're calling it a volunteer fair, where you match up students that are interested with people that are interested in taking them. And I did meet with the principal today, and she's very pleased that Conservation wants a representative to meet with us.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's the narrative we submitted to the
Right.
school 3 weeks ago, maybe. Well, and there are other things there, but the narrative was the top sheet, and these are things we're gonna have at our table, so we can.
So people can see how much fun we have.
I couldn't get a picture of the cider donuts.
Yeah, and how many nips we collected.
Right.
But we crafted it not in terms of, we're looking for helping hands to, do menial work, but rather these are the learning opportunities and these are the exposures.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. So-
for someone who's truly interested in learning what the commission does and, being on a board and is interested in the natural world.
Just reminded, we had a student member a few years ago, remember that?
We did. She was a college student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was just that summer, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
One suggestion that I have too is I have a lot of pictures from Earth Day through the years. It'd be nice to put that together and maybe have one of the students, do something to put onto a Facebook page.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll mention that tomorrow.
Yeah. That would be great.
Let's get them on board.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Hope we get
And
some.
they'll be like, you use Facebook.
Do you think?
Yeah, I know, right? They're like, I can't help you there, I'm not on Facebook.
We could have an Instagram page.
Wow. That'd be very hip of us.
If we get, should we have something for them to sign up as interested, an application? Is there a process?
You should definitely have something, like a notebook or something,
Right.
to take,
Like this thing.
a sign-up sheet. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I can do that.
Well,
I can do that.
email, ask for their
There you go.
Instagram tag.
Yep.
You know what, I may modify it a little bit.
Okay.
Ask for an
Yeah.
email address.
Yeah, if you want.
Home
to.
address.
Right,
home
just,
phone
yeah,
number.
just write email
Cell phone number.
over, cross out address and write email. And there you go. Awesome, yeah, this is great. If anybody else wants to see, I saw it earlier today.
I did too.
Yeah, this is nice.
Excellent. Thank you both for staying on top of this and staying with it. And I know it's been a long process working with the school.
Right, it has been.
But
But a lot of support, they're really interested in doing this.
Good.
yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
so,
Do you have anything else?
not that I can think of, no.
Do you have anything else?
No, were you
Yeah,
talking
well-
about Eagerwood?
Yeah, Ager Woods.
Okay, great, yep.
Yep. So AJ and I met with Gary Goldwood. So he's a forester. So we received that forestry grant for Ball Hill Road Conservation Area. So
How much was it?
Just over 2,000.
Okay.
And essentially, Gary was telling us that money will cover him going out to the site, do a full inventory of the whole site, and then drafting this whole recommendation plan.
That's
of
fabulous.
What he thinks is best for out there for bird habitat management. So we did do this last year. It's the landowner goals.
Right.
But me and AJ were talking of thinking about sending it out to you know, the abutters of the property. And, you know, other citizens of Berlin, because it's not just our land, it's the whole town's land.
Sure.
And just getting people's opinions. Gary's also willing to do like a presentation for the town too.
Oh,
and
that's
explain.
awesome. Yeah, so we should definitely,
I think he said there's an additional fee if he does that.
Yeah, so I think it sounded like he was willing to do like just a general talk with everyone. And if we wanted, we could do like a site walk with him. I think that was additional.
Oh,
fee.
maybe.
Yeah.
right. So, yeah, if you could clarify kind of what he'll do for us for free.
Yep.
And yeah, if he wants to just do something at one of our meetings, we can do that.
Yep.
If he wants to do something where we do it like at the 1870 Town Hall and invite lots of people or
Yep.
whatever, whatever he wants to do. I also believe that we can do a poll on Facebook.
Okay.
So that might
That
be
would
the
be-
best
yeah.
place to do this.
Definitely.
Yeah. I don't have to fill this out again, right?
Right.
Oh, thank God. All right. Excellent. Yeah, so that's progressing.
Mhm.
And when is he gonna do all, when's
it sounded
all
like
this
he
happening?
was heading out as soon as, like after our meeting. It was like, yeah, in the next few weeks he'd be out.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
Excellent.
that was at the end of August. So
Great.
I'll reach out to him again and.
Yeah, that'd be great. And was he excited about your bird banding program out there?
Yeah, he seems definitely interested in it. It was funny though, just got recently into woodworking, so him and
Yeah,
AJ.
I
hit it
know.
off.
I was gonna save that for after the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Did
Yeah.
they ever get the poop bandit up there?
Any what?
The poop bandit person?
No.
Still running loose.
Still on the
Was that
loose.
an ongoing problem?
Yep.
Yes.
I guess it was a problem.
You missed out on that one, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I was just curious.
It's a little graphic. About,
We have
it's
pictures.
It's an issue. No, sir.
Yeah, there's
Where was
pictures
this?
of the.
There,
We'll talk later.
There's somebody doing stuff up at Pisgah. That's really gross.
Something tells me you're going to show me pictures of this.
Oh, I don't want to see a picture.
I don't think you do either.
Yeah, that is not a thing you can unsee.
No, it's messy.
More than just a normal.
Yeah. Okay.
Deliberate.
Does anybody have anything else?
And just one more thing, we got Highland Ridge is starting to experience ATV activity on their trails.
Yes.
So.
From where?
We were out there and put up 4 signs today. I was out there with
Dan.
Dan Stimson from SVT, and put
Okay.
up signs in 4 places.
Okay, do you have any idea where they might be coming from?
Well, that's where we focused the signs. Any place there was an arterial trail coming into those trails from outside of the community.
Okay.
And there was clear sign of, it looked like a motorcycle, and then reports from Skip
Williams.
Williams, yeah, that he saw through the forest cover what looked like 2 4-wheelers going through there.
Right.
So, there was no signage before. Maybe this will matter. We talked about maybe, doing some other means of observation. But we're kind of hoping, there wasn't enough spore from, tracks from these machines to really pin down where they came from.
They come from Carter Street.
Too darn much rain,
Oh, I know
Everything
where
was
they come
washed-
from,
washed
Carter
out.
Street. Because I know, yeah, they used to do that before this whole development got built.
Well, maybe with the signage in there now, they'll
Yeah, so that's
understand.
where they come from. And I know where another place they come from, but let's just say for now it's Carter Street.
Right. All right.
Thanks, Megan.
Motion to
And one last call. Anybody have anything?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn the meeting on September 20th, 2023.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.